That disaster averted on a plane in Florida. The jet with 101 people on board burst into flames moments before takeoff. Nearly 24 injured. The airport shut down for hours. ABC's David Curley on the scene in Fort Lauderdale. Good morning, David.
Morning, George. Those passengers this morning recovering from their injuries and the shock when that engine exploded into flames. We have new pictures of their harrowing escape. But the question this morning, why was that jet leaking fuel? Overnight, the charred Dynamic Airways jetliner moved off the taxiway where its engine and fuel caught fire, sending billowing clouds of smoke into the air. The moments captured by video, frantic passengers taking emergency chutes, running from the flaming jetliner to safety. 101 people on board the 767. It was rolling onto the runway to take off to Venezuela when another pilot sees a fuel leak.
Underneath this fuel was fluid leaking out of the left engine. Okay, Dynamic 405 Heavy, do you copy? Yes, sir, we copy.
Seconds later, the fuel ignites.
Engines on fire, engines on fire.
Passengers hear the explosion.
In the window, and it's like flames all over the turbine of the plane.
They say the crew was calm despite the panic and flames.
When we go down the slide, I couldn't see anyone because we went from the left side, so all the smoke.
21 injured, most when they were evacuating. Soon after the flames were extinguished, the engine was being examined. A small leak found between the engine and the wing. This morning, an NTSB team arrives to determine why the jet was leaking fuel just after leaving the gate. Dynamic is a 6-year-old airline that operates a half dozen 767s. This aircraft is nearly 30 years old. The airline says the jet was up to date with all maintenance requirements. Included in one of those maintenance requirements was an order about a fuel pump inside the wing. Dynamic says it had agreed to that order and had taken care of all that information. The investigation continues later this morning, George.
Okay, David, thanks very much. And you have Stephen Ganyard standing by.
He is joining us now, ABC aviation expert Steve Ganyard. And Steve, people want to know, how could this happen?
Good morning, Robin. Well, in most aviation mishaps, it boils down to somebody made a mistake or something broke or a combination of the two. What we think happened in this case is that the fuel line, that big pipe that supplies fuel to the engine, became either disconnected or broke somehow and ended up putting hot, flammable jet fuel on that hot engine, which you saw created this terrible fire.
The NTSB, as we heard in David Curley's report, they are going to be on the scene investigating. What exactly will they be looking for?
Well, they'll be looking at the maintenance on this particular aircraft, but they'll also be looking at the maintenance procedures that this airline uses. But I think there's a bigger point here, Robin. You know, when people, I can't speak to this airline, but when people buy a highly discounted airline ticket on an airline they've never heard of before, they have to understand that that airline's probably discounting things like maintenance and crew training as well, and therefore it's probably discounting your personal safety as well.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Unfortunately, people were able to get down the chutes. There were some injuries, and hopefully everybody will make a full recovery.
We do hope that, Robin.